Okay, perfect. So good morning again, everyone. Happy Friday. It's been a tumultuous year. I'm sure everyone's looking at winding it down, and thank you for joining us. Bert Weenink is going to be presenting to us about mindset this morning. He is from Action Coach. So Action Coach is one of the leading business coach firms in the world. With regards to the topic of mindset, I personally think it's very important. I always used to be one of the people that used to believe, this positive, be positive nonsense doesn't work, but it actually does. The minute you start to think positively and program yourself that way, your brain actually responds in certain ways that it releases chemicals, which obviously will then have a scientific effect on everything else. I've got a couple of personal stories to tell you as well, but I'm not going to hijack it. I think Bert can testify for that. And if you want to go for it, Bert.
Thank you, Jen, and thank you to everybody who is interested in what I have to say. I really appreciate that. And it's great to have you here this morning. And yeah, 2022 is around the corner. And a lot of people are at the moment just switching off, getting ready to go on leave or already on leave. And for that, great if you could plan your business and your life that way. So how do you make 2020 the best year ever? Well, I'm going to try and give you some hints and tips, not a plan, not a document to fill in or whatever, but I'm going to give you some questions to think about. I'm going to really stimulate your thinking, hopefully, in the next 45 minutes to an hour. And hopefully you have the chance to then ask some questions, get some clarity. And yes, really make sure that you start off in the new year with a mindset that is positive, a mindset that is a growth mindset. And not a fixed mindset. So let's go. So really, sorry, I just want to get this going. So the main thing today is participation. So you've made the effort to be here, and I really want to thank you for that. But if you are not going to give 100%, you won't get 100%. So when we ask for comments, when we ask you to type something in the chat box, please do that, because it just helps us in terms of getting you value. And making sure that you can benefit from this morning. So for me, it's about your investment in time this morning, and I want to give you something back for that. And that's really my job as a coach and as a presenter. So I think a number of you have already typed into the chat box where you're from. But yeah, I'd just like to know who you are and where are you from and what type of business. Perhaps you can also put that in. Are you in a department in some corporate, or are you in a business? Are you an entrepreneur? What type of business? What do you do in your day job? That's really what I want to know. So looking forward to seeing that in the chat box. And Jen, perhaps as people type it in, would you mind reading it out?
No problem. So we have Keith Stewart. He's working in sales, focusing on treasury management solutions. Is that your own business, Keith? And we have Centurion sales manager with CFO from Karen, no, working for Kariba. Okay, that's from Keith.
Awesome. And some of the others were previously Pretoria, Centurion, and so on.
That's it. And then Richard Wheeler from Johannesburg, he deals with a freight forwarding company. It's a startup. C is an accountant from Brisbane. Wow. Puseletso, I'm an entrepreneur providing personal development and executive coaching program for professionals, entrepreneurs, and individuals.
Thank you. And is that it? So thank you. Yeah, so thank you to those of you who typed in. Just a little bit about me. I've been in a senior management role in the fast-moving consumer goods for 30 years. Started early on in my career with Clover Dairies, ended up as manufacturing director at McCain Foods before I went and joined the distribution company as CEO. And after 18 months in that business, decided that I really wanted to try to go on my own, and then bought the Action Coach franchise. So Action Coach is a franchise. We're a multinational company, and we are present in more than 70 countries in the world. And I'm basically in my 10th year as a coach, and I've worked over the 10 years with quite a few businesses. So perhaps the question is, why can I talk about mindset? Well, I suppose at my age, I've seen it all, and I've probably been on every side of this one. So what my specific story is in the last 20 years, I worked for Clover SA, moved over to a company, McCain Foods, which was a multinational. In Clover, I saw the journey from a co-op to a private company. That was quite a few years ago. And currently, obviously, they are privately owned as well. McCain Foods, a family business, bought the I&J frozen foods business just as I joined them. And with McCain, I really got to travel the world. I got to see many places, many factories as part of the business and the responsibility as a operations and manufacturing director. Then just around my wife. My wife has had some serious health issues in her life. In 2015, she had to get open heart surgery because of calcification of the heart sac. Then she had an ankle operation, which was the end result of an injury she picked up at school. Then in November 2019, she was diagnosed with colon cancer. And to crown it, while she was recovering in early March this year, back at school, she actually contracted COVID as well. And then lastly, my daughter, who's a medical doctor, has gone through some hardships, worked at Alexandra as a medical doctor there, and did an internship in Bloemfontein, but at the end of the day, she was hijacked just outside the clinic that she worked in, and that was quite traumatic for us as a family, but obviously for her in the middle of it. And also because of being a doctor and the community that you work for is attacking you. So needless to say, she moved on from Alex, and she just couldn't go back to work there. So those are some of the stories that I can tell about things that influenced my life and made me that stronger, and also I had to choose. Do I sit there and have a negative mind, or do I actually change, and do I grow from there and keep on developing with this? So just a little bit about Action Coach. As the world's #1 business coaching firm, we spoke about the offices that we have around the world. We are privately owned by our CEO, Brad Sugars. And what I want to tell you about is our vision. Our vision is really to help create world abundance through business re-education. So part of the reason why I do webinars like this is to help create that abundance, to help influence people to think positively, to grow their businesses, and hopefully employ more people as a result. So my personal goal is that I'd like to work with 10,000 business owners and create 100,000 jobs. And that's really, in essence, what I want to do from a South African perspective. So how do I do that? Well, I need to reach out to people. I need to help them. And we meet with thousands of business owners every week around the globe in the different countries that as Action Coach we operate in. So I'd really like to ask you, and I hope you can say yes to this question, is that I could be your coach for the next hour. Well, being a coach means you give your athlete, or you give your client or coachee something to do. And we're going to do some exercises in this process, and I'd really like you to do them with me and give us some feedback, because I think that's the best investment of the time today, and to learn things that you can take forward. The other sort of Action Coach language topic we talk about is BFOs, and we call them blinding flashes of the obvious. And those are the aha moments, and hopefully as you go through today and as we do the presentation, you're going to get some of these BFOs. And my request to you would be to please write them down, because by the end of this presentation, you probably would have forgotten them. So BFO is that sudden spark, the aha moment when something makes more sense, and you can go on and implement it, a change or something from there. What are the rules? I know that I'd like to have people keep their cameras on, but nobody does that, and that's also okay. But please be present in the presentation. I understand that there will be distractions, but I'd love you to stay around and make sure that you get the most from it. And then as we move, please keep yourself on mute obviously, if you have a question, raise your hand, put it in the chat box, and Jenny will help us with any questions that arises in the chat box. All right, so, and then, there might be a question or two, and please answer them. So, Napoleon Hill, one of the people around, growing rich and doing all the things that you need to do, spoke about the stuff that you need to look at yourself to get better results. And don't just wish for things, but work on yourself. And I think that Jim Rohn is the person who said that, if you don't wish that life would be easier, wish that you would be better. But if you become better, life is going to be easier. So what happens with a negative mind? Well, a negative mind spawns only negative ideas. And we know that, and we've seen that, I'm sure, all in our lives. And yeah, I think it's important that we understand that if we are in a negative mindset and we think that things can't change, and we're caught in this, let's call it this big, what do you call a mole cork? Yeah, so when we do that, then obviously we're stuck in it, we can only see the negative. And we really want to see the positive. And the negative mind cannot generate positive results. So just a little bit about what is mindset. Just want to go into that for a moment. So we know that it's all around your attitude, and it's an established set of attitudes or settled way of thinking or feeling about something. So first of all, mindset, where it tells you the mind is set, it is fixed. Well, it is fixed for the moment, but because you think in a certain way and because you act in a certain way. And I've asked you this question as a South African: what is your mindset around Eskom? I don't think there will be many positive thoughts around. So understand that negative mindset comes from an established or set attitude or settled way of thinking about something. But in this case, Eskom doesn't bring up all sorts of sparks. So what is mindset? It's a set of beliefs. And if you think about it, that Kendra Cherry said, your mindset influences how you think, how you feel, and how you behave in any given situation. Well, that's an important thing, isn't it? Because if that happens, then what you have today is as a result of what you think, what you feel, and how you behave. So best if we had a positive mindset. And we also know that life is like boxing. It is not about declaring defeat when you fall down. Defeat is only declared when you refuse to get up. And all of us, I'm sure, have had some negative setbacks in our lives. I think we've had, things in our life. Well, we've all experienced COVID, haven't we? So that was a negative. But there were other things, private things that you don't want to talk about first. And then, why don't you get up? And in your case, because you're here today, I'm sure you got up. But just remember that, life is similar to boxing. You have to get up. That means you are going to be knocked down at some point. And the question is, how do you recover? How do you get up? Because those negative things are certainly going to influence your life. And the question is, do you have anchors, and how do you take that forward? Right. Viktor Frankl wrote the book, Man's Search for Meaning. And in that book, he spoke and talked about what happened in the concentration camps in the Second World War in Germany. And what he found is that people who have a why to live for can deal with almost any how. The word almost is important, but if you have a strong purpose, if you have a strong why, then you can actually deal with almost any how. But going back to the boxing analogy, if you have a strong why to live for, you can get up because, that's the purpose. That's where you're going to be. You want to do that. So let's look at you. And this is just a quick poll. I'd love you to just type in the chat box. On a scale of 1 to 10, just a number, where is your current mindset? I'm going to give you a minute to think about it. And on a scale of 1 to 10, just type in the chat box where your current mindset is. And Jenny, you can probably just call them out as they arrive.
Absolutely. So we have an 8. 8 again. which fluctuates. 5, 9, wow, 7, 5, another 5, another 5. That's the magic number today.
Okay. The other
6.
people, are they still thinking?
Yeah, we have a 6 coming through, a 9 again. Fantastic. Do we have a 10?
I've had 11 before.
That's it for now, I think.
Okay, so thank you for that. And I must say that, you know, the feedback is almost similar to the last presentation we had on this topic and got people to do it. And I did this with my clients, the business owners that I work with and that I coach. And interestingly enough, there was nothing below 7. So, yeah, I suppose mindset being important, where you currently are, and then the question is, how do you build out of that? Okay, so, yeah, for me, important that you actually think about what you want from today. So I'd like you to spend the next 2 to 3 minutes just thinking about why you're on this webinar and what would you like to achieve from it. And if you wouldn't mind typing that in the chat box so Jen and I can also understand what it is that you want. I'll give you 2 minutes. Jenny, any questions on your side?
No questions this side. We've got an answer. I try and always have a positive mindset and speaking positivity into things in my life. I would like to learn how to teach others about a positive mindset. And then another one, again, hopefully to improve on my mindset. Just want to go up there with a more positive mindset. The rest should fall in place. Absolutely. Another one here, to learn other ways of handling the thoughts that are brought into our lives by outside influences. Yes, that's quite a important one.
Big one, yeah.
Refocusing, being reminded that other people have the same challenges with a new business. How to keep yourself energized and focused. And I would like to spend time with like-minded people and environment while I learn from others. Someone wants time, freedom, and wealth. Well, that's what we all want. So again, to learn, positive mindset, learn new skills, gain a different perspective to approaching life and business, driving life and not the other way around. Then this is definitely for you. I can say that. Is your business driving you to learn more on positive thinking and have a better winning mindset? Okay, so everyone's got the same goal today.
Awesome. Any last thoughts here?
Here's another one. Plant new ideas to my mindset.
Okay. All right. So thank you for that. And I think as we move along, please keep that in mind. And then the question is, you know, why do we really do this? Why do you think we ask you to do this? Well, we want you to set your reticular activating system, which means basically that you just set goals for yourself so that you know, your brain knows where you want to go. It's about, you know, shape and form, recognizing that. That's, you remember the first time you bought a new car, or a second-hand car, doesn't matter, but it was your car. And all of a sudden you saw so many other cars similar to your car on the road, and you didn't know that they were there before. But because your brain has now identified the shape, you can see all of those cars in that model of a car. So this is about setting goals. And we also know that for people to change, we need to overcome the resistance to change. So one of the formulas I want to share with you today, and please write this down, is the formula for change. And the formula for change just says that my level of dissatisfaction and my vision of how things could be, plus a bridge or a first step could overcome resistance to change. So let's think about this in a sales situation. If you go to a new prospect and they already have a service or something like what you offer, or they might not, they will be dissatisfied with some things in their life. And if your product can be the vision that they want and help them create a better life, they might just be able to buy your product. And the question is, in life, how do we overcome that resistance to change? Well, first of all, we need to be probably seriously unhappy about things. And then secondly, we need to have a picture of the future, a picture of how things could be, so that we can take a step in that direction. And we know that people buy things sometimes because they want to get away from stuff, or something, quite often it's also about towards something. So they want to get something they don't have, or they want to get it away from negativity and pain. So resistance to change is overcome by having a clear understanding of what the dissatisfaction is. And then certainly I have a vision, this is how things could be. And then how does it allow me? What is that bridge that I need to build for those first steps that I want to go? So, question that I have, and you don't have to answer this in the chat box, but just in your own mind, how do you keep positive in the current environment? And we're in the fourth wave at the moment. Things are seriously increasing in terms of the number of people infected. And you probably know quite a few that are currently isolated, or even you might be on the call and you have been infected. And the question is really then, how do I keep positive? And then it's not about only a once-off positive, I feel good on a Monday, but what about Tuesday to Friday? So what is your mindset? We know that we can only get as far as the mindset allows us to. And if you think about the model that Carol Dweck developed about growth mindset and fixed mindset as two opposites, to say that, people actually need the growth mindset. Because growth mindset is where failure is an opportunity to grow. And failure is the limit of my ability on the other side. So a fixed mindset, you can't grow. The thinking is that, I have an ability and that's just how things are going to be. And a growth mindset, it's much more about getting up. The challenges that I'm facing will help me grow, it will help me develop, and I will become better at life and at my business. So think about the attitude, right? So attitude and mindset, I think, are similar things. And if your attitude and your potential go hand in hand, and that is what John Maxwell said in his book on leadership. So attitude determines our approach to life. And often our attitude is the only difference between success and failure. Oh, makes you think, isn't it? So having the right mindset, having the right attitude is extremely important in terms of achieving stuff. Right, so what is your mindset? Well, if it's a growth mindset, probably failure you see as an opportunity. You can learn to do anything. So you're not just hooked up in, whatever you've learned up to date, but no, you can learn to do anything. You take feedback as, constructively. You like feedback because it helps you improve, helps you grow. You like to try new things, be that the next book that you want to read, or next theory around mindset, or whatever it is, but in your life and your business. And the success of others inspire you. Well, what happens in a fixed mindset? Well, firstly, failure is the limit of your ability. We don't believe we can grow. We don't see it as an opportunity to grow. I can either do it or I can't. Well, that means you can't learn to do or unlearn some bad habits, perhaps. I'm either good at it or I'm not. Well, that's not true. Certainly you can develop some skill. My abilities are unchanging. Well, I'd like to try new things on the other side, or my success is predetermined. So, you know what, whatever I do doesn't matter. Things in life are going to happen and my success is going to be what it is. In Action Coach, we use this formula, the point of power. And again, I'd like you to write this down, because basically what we're saying is you can either be powerless or powerful. In the powerless situation, it is about blaming others and everybody and everything around you. It could be the weather, it could be anything. Having excuses for not achieving stuff. So you would think about those. and justify that you didn't achieve it, but that's okay. Or you'll be in denial around some of your skill. The more important place where you want to be and where you want your team to be and your company to be is to be powerful. And in a powerful situation, you have responsibility, accountability, and ownership. Okay, so what do those words mean? Well, let's just go into that for a moment. So the ownership side is the right or possession of something. Okay, so I'm a business owner, which means I own a business, or I am a property owner, which means I own property. The question is also the 6 inches between your ears, who owns that? Are you in a positive way taking control of that? And how does that work? Have you taken ownership of your mindset, if that is something that you're struggling with? Someone who's accountable, and this is just explaining what accountability is completely responsible for what they do. Right, so I'm taking responsibility, which means what I do, I'm responsible for. And if somebody asks me, then I will give them an answer. I'll explain that. Excuse me, can you just mute yourself?
Welcome back.
Sorry, Tebogo, sorry. Could you just mute yourself to that side?
We talk when we talk.
Hello? All right. Hopefully we got that done. Okay, so let's go back to this. Developing, in terms of responsibility, are you developing yourself? Whose responsibility is it to develop you? Your own, or your managers, or your boss? I don't know. But if you're responsible, you're going to be developing your potential. You'll be better. People who are responsible don't make excuses, and they don't blame others. All right? The buck stops with me. I'm taking ownership of this, and I will sort it out. I will make sure it works. Those are the things that we want from our team. So understanding that in this point of power equation or slide, it is about understanding that if we focus on results, we're going to have ownership, accountability, and responsibility. And if we focus on blame, excuses, and denial, we're going to really focus on the reasons for things not happening in our life and in our business. So for me, it is about being powerful. And this slide is in most of my clients' boardrooms, and it is about when they talk to their team to remind them about the fact that their team must take ownership, they must be accountable, and we want them to be responsible. The mindset of an entrepreneur, and here's something perhaps that I want to introduce, is the Entrepreneurial Ladder. So looking at the Entrepreneurial Ladder, one starts at the bottom as an employee, and perhaps you can below that still put student. All right? So if you're a student, you pay somebody to teach you. As an employee, you get paid, but you learn about the business and about how things are in business. And then you become self-employed because you don't like the boss that you work for. You work long hours. You think that, he's taking commission or selling your, whatever you do at a high profit, and why can't you get that for yourself? And then you start your own business and you get self-employed. And then you don't like the new boss because he's a bigger moron than the first one. And then as you move up the ladder, you become the manager, the business owner, the investor, and the entrepreneur. And at entrepreneurial level, what happens there? People approach you and they say, see you've got money, why don't you invest in my idea? And that's how people grow and how entrepreneurs get to grow their businesses, because people approach them. So looking at those 6 steps on the ladder, you'll recognize that manager, self-employed, and employee all get paid by the hour. The entrepreneur, the investor, and the business owner get paid for their effort. They get paid because they have a share in the business. They get dividends. They get all sorts of other things. And at the end of the day, that's a business that they can sell. The other thing about learning is that we have this I know attitude. And I've seen this with lots of clients and lots of their staff, is that you can't teach them anything. They know everything. But what they do not do is to do the things that they know. So for an open mindset and for a learning approach to things, we would rather replace the I know attitude with isn't that interesting. And again, it's an open mind, a growth mind that now can see opportunity and perhaps think about stuff that we haven't done or haven't done as well as we should have, even though we know or we knew about it. So here's a question to you, and perhaps type in the chat box. Is your business driving you, or are you driving your business? And this could be in your department. Is it driving you if you're in a corporate or in a government organization, or are you driving the business? Love to get your comments on this. Jenny, as I put in the chat box, let's read it out.
Yes, I know that we had someone earlier that actually mentioned this point.
Yes, I remember that.
Nothing comes through as yet, but I can say for me at the moment, it's both.
You sort of go from the one to the other.
That's it. So here's another both.
Okay, not a bad place to be. Hopefully
Yeah, another both. It's important to adjust.
So here's a question. If you were to not go back to the office today, and could you stay away for 2 weeks and the business would still be around when you get back?
A couple more answers. The business is still new. They can say both, another both. Again,
Okay.
both. Again, 5 and both. My
Okay.
business drives me. I can't stay away. Yes, there we go.
Yes. I suppose most of us would answer it that way. And the question is, how do you get to the other point where you drive the business and where the business delivers what you need? And you can just log in the morning and check the results and make sure things are happening as they should.
Do you have one lucky person? I can stay away. I have systems in place. Very lucky there.
Awesome. Well done. And I want to compliment you on that, because that's where we all want to get our businesses to. All right. All right, so success and mindset, just a few thoughts on that. I have worked with quite a number of business owners over the years, and the thing that undoubtedly is that success and mindset go together. So for business success, you need a positive mindset, and they certainly are linked. Because the fact of the matter is, you're going to be in business and you're going to get some setbacks and things, and you're going to have to overcome that. And your team is looking at you as the leader. So what do you do about it? How do you continue to grow? And how do you make sure your team is going to drive what you need to do? So what we know is that in business, you also need to create a winning culture. So yes, having the right team is one thing, having the right mindset. But what are the attitudes, values, and beliefs of your business? And what do you want people to believe about and live in your business? So have you got that? Do you have a set of values, a point of culture, whatever you want to name it? Where are those rocks, the things that are set and cast in stone? That could it be teamwork, integrity, whatever it is, doesn't matter. What are those things that are important to you, and that you call your points of culture or your values that are not negotiable and that people should adhere to at all times when they are in your business? In Action Coach, we've got this 6 steps coaching model. And right at the bottom, we start with mastery. And in mastery, it really is about understanding where you want to take your business and getting on top of your numbers. Those are the 2 main things. At the next level, once we've got that in place, it is about predictable cash flow. So coming out of the chaos now, understanding where we want to go, have a plan, and now starting to align the team and everybody to will bring stability. That stability is going to bring cash flow because the marketing is going to work. We're going to sell more product. We're going to do whatever we need to do to get that cash flow. Then we want to leverage the time of the owner, because the owner is going to run out of time. Well, that means we have to have efficiency and then obviously bring in a team. Once we got on top of that, it is about bringing somebody into your business to help you run it so that you can do the things that you like. You can grow the business, perhaps open another branch or whatever it is that you want to achieve. You can think about these steps from mastery to niche to leverage the team and so on. But without a positive mindset around that, you're not going to get very far in running the business. So for attending today, I would like to just say to you, here's a link to my website to make an appointment with me, or just scan the QR code and you get to that page. And I'm more than happy to book a 30-minute chat with you once I receive your request. And Jenny, as requested, can you post the link in the chat box? Okay, so teamwork is the secret that makes uncommon people achieve uncommon results, or common people, sorry, uncommon results. So what does your team look like, and why is it important to talk about teamwork in mindset? Well, as a team, as a group of people with a common goal and shared responsibility and ownership in achieving that goal, what does it mean for us in business? What does it mean for you in your workplace? In Action Coach, we have a teamwork value. And the value is described as being a team player and a team leader. We do whatever it takes to stay together and achieve the team goals. I focus on cooperation and always come to a resolution, not a compromise. I'm flexible in my work and able to change if what I'm doing is not working. And I ask for help when I need it, and I am compassionate. But so I think important is that we've defined this value of teamwork. And the question is, what does teamwork mean to you? Quite often I find that people have values, but they haven't sort of described what that value means for them and their business. Because I'm sure that if, we've got quite a few people on the call, but if we asked everybody to explain teamwork in their own language, we'd get quite a few different results. So teamwork is about achieving more. Okay, and we know that, and I'm not going to go into the slide too much. What I want to spend time on is how do you create a winning team? So first of all, you need strong leadership. Well, if you're the leader of the business, the owner, that's you. We need you to be strong. We need you to lead the business. And I'll share some points on that with you. Then we have a common goal. Okay, so what does it mean? Well, we want to make sure that the goal is something that is achievable, but everybody must know where we're going. So we'll tell them about it. We'll set the rules of the game. We're going to develop an action plan so people know what to do and by when. We're going to support the risk taking, and then we're going to do and include everybody in this process. So John Maxwell talks about the 4 pillars of strong leadership. And the one is relationship. So if you think about the first value we talk about is strong leadership. What does that mean? Well, strong leadership, you need to have the relationships. We know that no one undertakes a journey alone, and not even in business. So if you want to go fast, go alone. And if you want to go far, go together. And that's not me that said that. We know that's an African problem. The second point is about equipping. So making sure that you have people that are strong and other leaders in the business as well. Normally, there's not just one leader. There's a number of leaders in any organization. The successful leaders equip people around them. So when they leave the business, it continues to run. There's no problem. They will get the results because everybody knows where they're going. Third point is all about attitude. And we spoke earlier about attitude and mindset, and so that's probably the same thing. So your attitude or your mindset has a profound impact on your life. And as a leader, that's certainly true as well. Your attitude towards life determines life's attitude towards us. Oh, that's an interesting thing. So what we hand out, we get back. Think about leadership as the fourth point then in terms of influence is the true measure of leadership. So as a leader, being a strong leader, I need to be influencing my team. I need to work with my clients, my customers, the shareholders. Now I need to influence everybody about where the business is going and what I want to achieve with it. So we know that there's a formula which says be times do equals have. So let's explain that in other words. So what I have today is as a result of what I'm doing or I did today and yesterday, and the person that I'm being. So the beliefs that I have and how things are going to pan out in my life. The same goes for a team. So how do we change this? How do we get the have we want to? Well, we need to start thinking differently. We need to start acting differently. And to do that, you might have to be trained. You might have to do other things. You might have to learn some more stuff. Because at the end of the day, you will not change the outcome if you don't do things differently. And if you're not a different person or the better leader in this case. So looking at the Iceberg formula, where we talk about, what you see is the actions, behaviors, and decisions of people. And at the end of the day, that's driven by the skills, beliefs, values, and identity of the people that you employ and in your team. So how does that match the do have formula? Well, the have is the results. So the results I get is as a result of the actions, behaviors, and decisions I make. And that's influenced by the person that I am. So as a team, again, the decisions, actions, and behavior is a group of people with a common goal. And we need the right skills, beliefs, values, and identity in it. And we know that. We've seen winning teams, and we know what it feels like and looks like, either at sports or other. So what is your why? And why are you doing what you're doing? And how do you enroll and inspire your team to be better and to perform at a different level? Because we want our team and our people in the business to perform on 16 cylinders. So as a manager, I can engage people with their bodies and minds. But as a leader, I need to get their hearts and spirits behind it. So to unlock the real true value of the team that I have, I need to be not only the manager, but I also have to be the leader. Henry Ford said that coming together is the beginning. Keeping together is progress, and working together is success. I honestly believe that. I believe that as a team, we can achieve a lot more than we can as individuals. And as leaders, we need our teams to perform, to help us in the game that we play. So from my side, I think it's just a reminder again that you can book this 30-minute chat with me at no cost. Either scan the QR code or go to my website at bertweenink.com. Jenny, are you going to put that link in the chat box again? You are on mute at the moment. All right.
There we go. I've put it in there.
So from my side, I'd love to know if there are any questions. You can either type them in the chat box. Jenny, I don't know if there's anything in there, or please unmute yourself and you can, if you have comments to make, you want to add to what I've presented, you're more than welcome.
I know that someone did ask for the recording, so yes, we will definitely send a recording out. I will be in touch with the attendees today. There's another one asking for a recording of the session. Yes, definitely. We'll send it. Just a question to the two people so far that have asked for the recording. The email addresses that we sent are your follow-up emails regarding this webinar. Are those still valid, or do you have preferred other email addresses? If you do, don't you want to put them in the chat box?
Yes. Let's make sure we can get the stuff to you. Okay. If there are no more questions or no more comments, I would like to thank you for being with me today. I trust that you got some real value from the last 45 minutes that you can.
I have a question.
Yes, I'm listening.
Okay. I was more interested in the team, being a team leader and being part of the team, working as a team.
Yes.
How do you balance your personality to having the right attitude or being part of the team?
How do you
Because
balance?
at times, your personality, if you have a personality that clashes with, I don't know, your team, how do you balance your own personality to fit in a team?
Yeah, that's a difficult one, I suppose. It depends on your personality, I would say, firstly. But I would say that people work for a boss in the business, and they need to get on with you as the leader of the department, or as whatever. And for me, for you to get on with them, I think you need to employ the right people that can work with you. And that I would turn it around a little bit and say that's what I would like to do. So I have people that fit my personality, and therefore we can work together. Yeah. it's very seldom that the leader is going to change his personality. It's more the team will change to fit with the leader, I think. Anybody wants to add to that, perhaps? Jenny, any thoughts?
Yes, I think it comes down to the level of emotional intelligence that you've got. I heard a very good quote or saying the one day when I was employed at one of the large motor groups is, it's not about your manager managing you. It's about learning to manage your manager. And I suppose that the same can be applicable. I mean, if you're in a corporate or an employee, then you apply the saying literally. But it's all about wrapping your mind around how to deal with a person, realizing that people are different. It's emotional intelligence, where they're coming from, and knowing just how to adapt them. People are very fixed. Again, it comes to the fixed mindset, growth mindset, and you will probably find the minute you change yourself and the way you respond to people, they will respond the same way. So if you find you've got a personality that's clashing with the rest of the group, it's not necessarily about changing who you are, but maybe consider changing the way you convey certain things. I mean, you don't have to change who you are, but conveying is. I mean, acknowledge that just as you want to be accepted with your personality, other people want to be accepted for theirs. Yeah, it's, you know.
I would say that one of the ways to look at that is do a risk analysis of your team.
Yes.
Get some personality profiling done, understand how team members want to be treated, and you can share that with the team as well, so everybody has a better understanding of the different personalities, so that they can work together better.
Definitely.
Right.
But maybe just from my side as well, by looking at the habits of people, once you understand how their habits are different from yours, it's exactly as you said, you can learn how you need to handle that person, or what the impact of a person's habits are on how you perform your work. And that provides great insights. So we've got a habit analysis tool. I think I shared it with you before.
Yes.
When you can actually look at the habits of a team and understand each individual and why there might be problems or issues, and overcome those by, performing in a way or addressing them in a way that would alleviate that.
Awesome. Thank you for that feedback, Yolanda. I appreciate it. Okay, there are no more questions. Then I want to say thank you, and may you have a wonderful Christmas and a wonderful break, and please stay safe, and please don't get COVID. Have a wonderful time. Thank you and goodbye.
Thanks so much.